This is the tutorial for lesson 8A only, and the reason why I'm breaking up lesson 8 is simply because 8A, 8B, 8C, they all are using different types of text, and that's what lesson 8 is all about, is the text tool. And there are different types of text, namely single line text, also known as simple note here on DraftSight, and then we have multi-line text where you may want to write paragraphs or longer notes or things like that, and that stuff is known as just regular note. So if you want to write multiple lines, you're going to see that in note, and then generally single lines where you just have short little bits of text throughout your drawings, you're going to use simple note. Okay, so lesson 8A is going to be its own tutorial, and I'm just going to start out with up at the top where it says text exercise, and it tells me to use justify center. It gives me a height, and it gives me a center point. So there's a couple ways to do this. The first way is by going to simple note right here, and I'm just going to go ahead and type in with cap lock on text exercise, and it tells me that the center point is 6.25 comma 8, so 6.25 and 8 will be my y. Z is obviously going to be 0. This may be checked right here, and if it's so, that's going to be grayed out, so I'm going to uncheck that and make sure that I get to put those numbers in. Style, we're just going to leave it on standard for now. I'll show you how to change that later. And then height, it tells us that the height of the text is 0.5. And then here, the one that works right for this one is going to be center bottom. This is the one that works correctly for this one. I thought it would be this center right here, but that's not necessarily the case. Okay, so I'm gonna choose this box right here. Go ahead and click OK, and there is the word text exercise right there. Now, one quick way to know that this works is when I click on this and I put my cursor right on that blue grip. You can see at the bottom of the screen, right here where my mouse is moving, you can see when I put my cursor on the grip, it says 6.25 comma 8. So that bottom grip is exactly where we need it to be, and it does need to be there. Okay. Now, if for some reason you might have messed up or that didn't work right, you can always right-click and go to Properties. And when you go to Properties, you can see the text. I don't know, maybe you misspelled it and you put TXT exercise or something like that. So when I do that, obviously now it's misspelled. I'll go back and fix that. Or maybe you made the height the wrong size, or maybe the X and the Y is not correct, or maybe you didn't do center, maybe you did something like bottom center instead, and now you can see that this is at 6.25 comma 8. But again, they asked us just for center, so we're going to use this guy right here, and we'll make sure that's at 6.25 comma 8. Okay. So you can leave this properties box open if you want. I use it quite often when I need to check certain things. I like having maximum screen space, however, so I'm going to get rid of it. Okay, so I use this button up here. It's known as Simple Note. Another shortcut that I use quite often, because this is what I had to learn when I did AutoCAD, is DT. That stands for Dynamic Text. So if I type in DT, enter, it says specify the start position, or I can hit J for justify, or ST for style. And it tells me to justify it, and I'm still on the text exercise one. So J, enter. C, enter, and it says specify center position, and I wanted it at 6.25 comma 8. That would be the center point. The height is 0.5. The text angle is 0, so I just hit enter, and then it says specify text. Specify text. I'm just going to type in the word test, and you'll be able to see it kind of overlapping up here. I'll go ahead and zoom in on this so we can see it. But there's the word test right there. You can see that the center is currently at 6.25 comma 8, which is where it should be. And if I would have typed in text exercise instead of the word test, that would be in the exact same spot where my current text exercise is. So that's another way. Again, DT is the shortcut. It's called Dynamic Text, and you can follow all of the different options down here on the command line. And that was actually the way that I was taught, not necessarily using these buttons up here. So just another little food for thought. Okay. So I'm going to go to the next one, and I'm actually going to use the way that I was taught, which is DT for dynamic text. If you want to use this button up here, this simple note button up here, feel free. But the one on the left says this text start point is 0.75, 7.5, and the height is 0.13. So notice it doesn't tell me to justify it. I'm just going to go DT, enter, And I could hit J for justify, but it doesn't tell me to justify it, so I'm not going to do that. It does, however, give me a start position. It says it's 0.75, 7.5. So I type that in, enter. Specify the height, it says 0.13, enter. Text angle is 0, and then I just need to type in what it says in the book. 0.75, 7.50, hit enter one time, and the height is 0.13, and enter, and that guy is done. And one way I know that this is right is basically when I look at this, you need to look at, like, say, the 0, and that should basically line up with the edge of that T right there. Okay, so yours should line up pretty much exactly with mine, and we should be good to go. Ours is not going to line up exactly with the book because they're using a different style text than we are using. But as long as we're all using the standard text that comes preset in the one workbook helper, all of ours should look alike. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the one in the right. It says this text is justified right, so DT enter, J enter, R enter for right. Specify right in position. It says 11.5, 7.5. Specify the height. Tells me it's 0.13. Specify the text angle, still 0, so I hit enter. And here we go. This text is justified right, period. The end point is 11.50, 7.50, period. The height is 0.13, and all I'm doing is typing the directions. This is exactly how I found out what these numbers were. The text will look a little strange, enter, because it seems to be justified left. And I know it's a lot to type, but it's just one of those things we have to do. And press enter twice. And there we go. And so yours again should look like mine. Just kind of look at this T right here. Does that line up with the C? Maybe this T up here lines up with the edge of the E right there. And just make sure it looks okay. So here we go. DT enter, J enter. This one asks for a line, so I'm going to go ahead and hit A for a line. Start position is 0.75, 0.75, 5.5. And one thing you need to be careful on this one, I believe, is you need to make sure that E track is off. That one might mess things up. We've had problems with that in the past, and it's just kind of a quirky thing. So make sure E track is off so that one doesn't get messed up. And it says the endpoint is 11.5, 5.5. Oops. 11.5, 5.5 text. And this one looks funny until you get everything typed out. First endpoint is 0.75, 5.5. Second endpoint is 7.5, 5.5. And here we go again. It asks us to do another align one, and this is the one where you really need to make sure that E track is off. So we'll just go ahead and try this guy. DT enter, J enter, A enter. Start position is 0.75, 4.75. Okay. End position is 11.75, 5.25. Text. And you can see this one's going at a bit of an angle. Align again. First endpoint is 0.75, 4.75. Second endpoint is 11.75, 5.25. Hit enter twice, and that one should go up at a bit of an angle, kind of like that. So hopefully from there on out you should get that all the directions are right where you need them to be. That's basically the first half of the lesson, what it should look like. I'm going to go ahead and turn the grid off so it might be a little easier for you to see. But that more or less is exactly what this thing needs to look like. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this thing up. But this, if you've gotten this far and yours looks like mine looks, then you should be in pretty good shape. And I am going to do things like walk around and put my mouse right there and check to make sure that that point is 6.25, 8. Or it says this text start point is 0.75, 7.5. So if I put my mouse right there, that should be 0.75, 7.5. And when you look at the bottom of my screen right now, you see that. So it's really easy for me to check this guy and check these things out. For example, this one should be 0.75, 4.75, and this should be 11.75, 5.25. And you can look at the bottom of my screen and see that's exactly how it works. So that can become important. So you can check your work and make sure this is exactly right before you call me over to check this out. So here we go. Next one is justify fit. So DT enter, J enter, F enter for fit. Start position is 1, 4. End position is 5, 4. And height is 0.13. And text. Oops. First equals 1, 4. Height is 0.13. And there's that guy right there. So next one is the little circle. Says draw the circle first. It wants it at center at 7, 3.75. So circle. Here we go. Specify center point. Center point needs to be at 7, 3.75. And radius, it asks for 0.75. So there's that guy. And then DT enter, J enter. It says justify middle. So M for middle, specify middle position. This one I could type in that same center point, or I could just click right there and specify the height would be 0.5. Text angle is 0. And I believe it wants us to type in the number 22. And that looks like it's at a bit of an angle, so I'm going to try that again. DT enter, J enter, M enter. Middle position should be the center of this circle. I'll click that. Specify height, it would be 0.5. And text angle should be 0. Currently it's on 3 for some reason, so I'm going to go ahead and change that to 0. And 22, and there we go. That's perfectly straight. So that's how it should look. Somehow my angle got shifted over to 3, so sometimes you have to do it over again and 0 that back out. Okay. Next one, the one kind of going up to the right. DT enter. No justification. Start point is at 8.5, 1.25. And the height is at 0.2. And the text angle is at 45. So this is the first one that's actually going at a bit of a rotation. So no justification for this text. And then it looks like they misspelled this. Just start text at 8.5. height 0.20, and rotation 45, enter, enter. And there we go. So we're almost done. We just got to do one more. DT enter, J enter, F enter for fit. Start position is 1, 0.5, 1, 0.5. End position is 5, 0.5. And height is 1. Text fit 1 inch height. Enter, enter. And so when I zoom in, it should look something like that. And again, it's real easy for me to come around and check any one of these guys. Like I can click on this, and I know that that's 1, 0.5, and I know that that's 5, 0.5. So it's real easy for me to check these. So make sure you do follow those directions. And then you're going to save this guy just like this as lesson 8A. And I'll be back to do more tutorials for 8B and so on. Which I can tell you a lot of those are going to go into multi-line text, also known as notes. So this would all be single line text or simple note. And again, the shortcut was DT, which stands for dynamic text. So there you have it. We'll see you again for the other parts of lesson 8.